Welcome to another episode of Talking Nerdy in the Bedroom with
Corey.
KJ.
Roger.
Oh, you were supposed to go and
nope.
Roger because
Nope.
there's no mic.
Nope, never.
You ruined it.
Can't break
have
tradition.
Nice things. Well, we have to change it when someone's not here. It's been like 3 weeks. Corey's missed, or you've missed, Corey's missed, Mike's missed. Yeah, it happens.
Life.
Yeah, stupid life. Although now, again, I mentioned it in the group text message with 4 people. It's nice because then you're just down to 3 rather than just 2 people chatting, which it can be fine too. You still got 3. That's good.
Although one looks like he's about to pass out.
I know.
I took my pain meds like an hour ago, and for some reason they're really making me lightheaded. So
Well, that's good.
I'm a little out of it. So I probably didn't eat
just
enough.
like normal. It's
Yeah.
fine. And this is the episode that he was so gung-ho
I was.
on.
I said that today.
So fucking
I was like,
gung-ho.
of course, today's the day.
I mean, I haven't watched We Were About to Die. I've watched the first episode. That's all I've gotten through.
I have not
I haven't
even
finished
started
it yet, but I'm pretty far in.
All right, well, so we'll let everybody know. So the episode this week is going to be on like ancient Greece, ancient Rome type shows or movies.
Ancient anything, really?
And, well, I don't want to go ancient. We could be talking about ancient aliens and like, do you talk about a show or a movie that's 10,000
I mean,
BC?
I've
'Cause
got
that's
the,
ancient.
got the hair for the ancient aliens. It just
That's
goes
fair.
everywhere.
Yeah, that's fair. I meant to actually put on the new one before the podcast, and I forgot, so I'm still rocking the old one, but I'm glad you got the new one on. Got your face on there.
Yeah.
Nice. Did you go home first and then put it on, or did you wear it to work?
I went home first so it didn't get covered in shit.
That makes sense. I was just curious if you got any comments at work. They're like, what the fuck is that? Because I get that comment every time I walk out with it. They're like, what is that?
KJ,
And then because of the name on it, it definitely, everybody thinks it's dirty, which I get. It's kind of the intention. It's, a play on words. But everybody's just like, like, they shouldn't bring it up because they think it's something sexual. Which,
That's
to be fair, casting couch. So, Yes, you were going to make a comment about my shirt and that Mike's been rubbed off?
I was gonna say your shirt does look like it's got shit all over it because it's so worn out.
Yeah, it happens. We've
Yeah.
had the shirts for like 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, now we got the new one. It's all pristine
It
over
looks
there.
crazy different. Like, I know it's new and old, don't get me wrong, but like
The color gradient is
it's,
Yes.
drastic.
Yeah. And I think part of that is...
We all have a tan.
Yes.
I think it just looks better than the first time did you use a different company?
Nope. Same company,
It's
but I
weird.
think that they use like different vendors.
Okay. Because
Um,
that just looks better than the first time we had it done.
Yeah, I think it's also because the faces are smaller. So
Oh,
you get a
yeah.
better clarity of the face because here, like, they're all blown out a bit because it's only
Yeah.
3 of us. So that one has 4 and yeah. But they're good. They look good.
Pretty nice.
So yeah, we're talking about ancient shows, ancient movies. We're going to talk about some that we've seen, some that we've heard of, some that like Corey's probably seen more than us, and while he tries to hype us out on it. So I know you're feeling out of it, but this is your show, so have at it. What's the first one you want to talk about?
Well, I want to start by saying, like, what's one that you've seen? Because that's a shorter list.
Well, yeah, fair. Let's see. Are we talking about movies or TV shows?
Let's stick to TV shows, I guess.
Hercules and Xena are technically ancient Greece
Hey,
shows.
I loved her.
I loved
and Xena.
I
but-
love them both. They
Yeah.
were both spot on and great for the time. Probably don't hold up now.
They hold up today.
There's no fucking way they hold up.
They're so
today.
cheesy they hold up today.
That if they're so cheesy, it means they don't hold up. Because
What
They were
about Young
cheesy to begin with.
Hercules?
Young Hercules was a terrible show the entire time that I loved.
I just loved. It's Ryan Gosling is
Yep.
Hercules, and then I think it's David, his friend in that, is the guy from. Was it? No, it wasn't Brink. It was Air.
Brink.
Was it Brink?
Yeah, it's Brink.
He's the bad guy.
I think so. Yeah.
well, like
Brink.
the brother. Or whatever. Yeah.
But Bruce Campbell is on both
Oh, yeah.
Xena and
Oh, yeah.
Hercules.
He-
Fucking
he-
love me
he's
some
like-
Bruce Campbell.
What's his character? Jack.
Jax.
Something. I know he's super slimy.
And then
He's
Sam.
the king of thieves. I know,
Sam
yeah.
Raimi's brother is in it.
Well, Sam Raimi made the show. Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
Sam Raimi's brother is in it.
I don't.
Which I'm
really
still
know who that
fascinated
is.
that they
He's
managed
the
to-
goofball guy.
I don't know.
They still managed to get the car in the show, too.
Did they? I don't see it. Like, to be fair, until you just said that it was Sam Raimi, I forgot that it was.
Yeah.
So do you remember what it was in the show?
don't, but they had to do some serious prop work to disguise it.
Oh,
But
Did
it's
he
in
do
there.
I do
Hercules
remember Sam
and-
Raimi's brother now. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
Doxer?
Was that his character on the show?
Yeah, I want to say
I
something
don't
like
know.
that.
I like the guy who played Ares. He was pretty.
Ares was good. And Xena and whatever the girl's name, Gabrielle.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Gabrielle was great.
And it's Hercules and Aeolus.
Aeolus.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's with an I. Yeah. Aeolus.
Who's Aeolus?
His friend, the blonde-haired guy, the like secondary character on the show.
God, why am I not
The pansy.
picturing it? I
He
can't
he
picture
wore a
it.
vest, a purple vest, purplish, I guess.
God.
Yeah.
I remember Xena way more than Hercules, I guess.
Oh.
And that's Sorbo, right? Is-
Kevin
Kevin
Sorbo.
Sorbo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so those are ones that I remember for TV shows. For Greece, for Rome, I got nothing.
Really.
Yeah.
I mean, they had some great made-for-TV series back in the day. The Attila was a good one. That was with Gerard Butler.
Nope.
And actually, his brother in that, Bleda the Hun, is played by Chibs, I believe, from
Sons of Anarchy.
Sons of Anarchy. Yeah.
Hmm.
I think. If not, it's another guy with a face scar. I'm just mixing them up.
Is it a both cheek scar? Because that's what Chib says.
I know. Yeah. I can't remember. I think it's him who plays Bleda. Yeah.
Gotcha.
But and then they had made for TV series. I can't remember if it was called Caesar or if it was called Empire, but it's
It's definitely not Empire.
I think it's is it Jeremy Sisto or Cisco was an actor in like the 2000s. He was in a horror movie. I remember he was.
That's helpful.
Well, I do. Does the name not ring any bells
No.
for you? Oh, if I show you a picture.
But you were just like, he's in a horror movie. Well, there are thousands of those.
Yeah. Well, I thought if you remembered the name at all, that it might start.
Sisto. He
What?
was in Wrong Turn.
That's what it was. Yeah. Sisto. Yeah.
Wrong Turn with Elijah Dushku?
Yes.
Yeah.
That guy, older in that picture, but
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, is he from Law and Order?
He's in a lot of things,
I don't know,
surprisingly.
I think
Yeah.
he's the guy from Law and Order for like 10 years.
yeah, he was in 6 Feet Under.
I think it's the guy from Law and Order.
Yes, Detective Cyrus Lupo.
Yeah. He was on it for like 6, 8, 10 years, something like that.
66 episodes.
So way less than maybe only like 3 seasons,
Mm.
22 apiece, roughly.
I don't watch that show,
Um,
so.
But anyway, he played Julius Caesar on a made-for-TV miniseries. They had a lot of made-for-TV miniseries on USA back in the day.
USA was known for that shit
Yeah.
for a while.
So that's Attila was on that one too. Attila was honestly like great, and it had another guy that I know you'd recognize. I have no idea what his name was. Played the Roman general, and it was really good. But
So let's transition because I haven't seen many. What about Roger? Ancient TV shows that you watched back in the day?
Dinotopia.
Dinosaurs, obviously, the sitcom.
Not
Jim
the mama.
Henson. No,
Was that Jim Henson?
it was.
I did not know that.
I didn't
It
know
also
that.
is talked about as one of the most brutal finales ever to this day because
yeah.
they just all die because of the meteor.
Well, no, actually, it's not a meteor. The father works as a geologist and is trying to exterminate a specific type of plant, but accidentally causes the ice age by setting off essentially nuclear weapons in all the volcanoes on the planet.
Oh, really? I thought it was about the whole meteor thing.
Nope.
Or is it just their take on
That's
the
just
meteor
their
thing?
take of the extinction is
Okay.
the father of the family causes the ice age.
Gotcha. Well, he wasn't the mama.
No.
No.
He was the bomber. Because he
Awful.
bombed it.
I have seen an Attila show, but not that one because it's not on TV.
There's another one.
Yeah, it's a documentary series that
Oh,
was
yeah.
with Jason Momoa as Attila the Hun. It's pretty
That's
rad.
cool. Is
The
it one of the,
documentary series with Jason Momoa?
It was.
I think I know what you're talking about. There are these documentaries with reenactments. So, like, they'll have a historian talk about a battle, then there's a reenactment.
It was right around the time he was playing Khal Drogo.
Huh. So before he like blew up.
Yep.
There's a really popular one about the fall of Rome, I think. And then there's a bunch on, like, Netflix, too.
Yeah,
that
I
are, like,
watched way too many of those with Bickford, so
yeah.
especially on Rome.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, he's obsessed with Rome. I love Rome TV shows, but he, like, He's
He's into it.
he's an expert on.
Is that the one that I hate?
No.
Rome?
Maybe.
Oh, the TV show. I thought you meant Bickford. I was
Oh, I don't even know
I
that
was
guy.
like, I don't even think you've ever met him. Yeah, you watched the first episode and said it was too political.
I said it was boring as hell because it was too political.
Yeah.
More recently, I've watched Shogun, which has been solid, but that's not ancient Rome.
I haven't watched
few
it yet.
times.
Yeah.
It's only supposed to be the one season, although they've been
It's not
talking
gonna
to
be,
the
though.
they've been talking to the main actor and everybody else because of how popular it was about doing another one.
I don't
Yeah.
see how they could.
Well,
I don't know.
I watched an interview. They said they're already in talks to do another season, and they're just gonna continue. I mean, the history's still there, but they'll be off book because the whole first season was the book Shogun.
Mhm.
So they'll just be off book and
Yeah, it's
create
going
their
so
own
well
stories.
for a bunch of other things.
Well, I mean, it's not like they're off. It's not like it's a fantasy series that's off book. It's based on a historical time period, so
It's
they'll
historical fiction, but
Just, yeah. So they'll just
Still, though.
continue.
I mean, it's the first Puerto Rican sailor to come to Japan and bring firearms.
Oh yeah,
That's what Shogun's about.
yeah. But I'm just saying, I don't know what they're gonna do for season 2.
More
the
guns.
second one
Yeah.
that shows up.
Yeah.
More guns. I don't
Last
know.
Samurai.
Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
So yeah, I didn't like Rome. Did you ever watch Rome, the TV show?
No, not really. I don't get a chance to watch a lot of TV.
Yeah, this was forever ago though, right? Like that show was 10, 15, 20
Yeah,
years ago.
It's
Oh,
been a
back when I was
while.
watching wrestling, and that was about it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with that, as you can see by the pretty 8 titles over there.
I mean, I didn't watch it when it came out because it was on HBO, and we didn't have HBO. But when I got to college, I was able to watch it, and it was amazing.
I will say it's nice having access to those things now, even if it's with their streaming compared to before, where you felt like you went to a friend's house and they had HBO. You're like, whoa, premium channels.
All right, Mr. Fancy Pants.
Right? I also remember that the box used to be transferable, like unlike nowadays where it's just by your address and the connection. My grandparents used to just have that little square box, and we used to borrow it to watch certain things. Like a wrestling pay-per-view used to be free back then if you had the box. And you could do it. I could watch it at my house. I could bring it to your house. It doesn't matter where it was. I don't understand how that worked.
I always watched them free thanks to LimeWire, but we'll ignore that.
Yeah, was LimeWire a thing back then, or was that still Napster?
No, LimeWire was around like 2005.
Yeah, I guess that's fair.
Probably even earlier than that, because I think I had switched the FrostWire by sophomore
So
year.
I
or
think
something.
I'm still talking about the 90s. I'm talking about the late 90s, 97, 98, 99. So I think that was Napster's time, or Napster came out in 2001? Something like that.
I don't know.
I don't know. Back before I had the internet.
We had the terrible dial-up internet.
I remember
I didn't even have that.
FrostWire downloading the Fantastic Four, thinking it was going to be the new movie, and then when I got it, it was the one from like the 80s with the.
Hell yeah. There's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with that.
Isn't that a episode premise of Arrested Development?
That they download the
That
movie.
that they're looking for the Fantastic Four
no,
movie, and then they
they're-
get the old one.
No, they're not. That's not the premise. The premise is they're trying to basically make a play or a musical based on the Fantastic Four movie, and they get the original actress who played Invisible Woman, and then Tobias wants to produce the
Yes.
produce it.
He needs somebody to help him get his rocks off.
Yes, and then he wants to play the part of the
Little
thing.
girl.
Yeah.
Help Daddy get his rocks
Arrested
off.
Development. So ancient, so far back. in
Yes,
the history
It
of the
was.
Yeah.
Nowadays, I'm so old.
I do think at some point you should be forced to watch the 2 seasons of Rome and then tell me your opinion about
Why
it.
am I being forced to watch something?
Because like many things that you've watched and didn't give a fair chance, you might like it after you do.
Is it going to be like in A Clockwork Orange where he's tied to the chair with his eyelids dilated open?
that
And
sounds awful.
No, but there's been so many shows that he's been like, no, I don't like it. And then when he finally gives it a real chance, becomes like The Office.
Yep. Although that had nothing to do with you, but yes.
yeah, still not a fan.
A buddy of mine was obsessed. Nick was obsessed with it. We were at his house and they put on the Beach Games episode, and which was season 5. I think.
So this is just going to be a general TV episode?
No, we'll get back to the thing in a second. We get sidetracked. That's what this podcast is.
But that was more just saying like he needs to give it a fair chance, and I think he'll like it.
I started watching it, I think, before you even told me to watch it.
You watched one episode.
Yes.
Said it's too political.
Yeah, it was terrible.
I mean, it's not terrible just because you don't like.
I know, but it
shows
wasn't
that
like
have a
you
brain.
told me, "Hey,
God.
watch Rome," and I watched Rome and said I hate it. I think I watched it on my own. Was like, I don't like this, and shut it off.
That's fine. But like most things, if you give it more than a half an episode chance, you might like
I've
it.
given you years, and I still hate you.
Well, I'm okay with that. But yeah, Rome is like my favorite ancient show, I would say. And then, I mean, like I liked the first season of Spartacus was amazing.
The guy died, right?
Yeah, which sucked because he was quite good.
He was the
too.
main actor.
Yeah,
Right?
Andy Whitefield, I think is his
So
name.
I'm gonna get sidetracked again. So you know The Boys, and
Yep.
you know the spin-off Gen V.
Yeah.
One of the main actors died in that. So I don't know what they're doing with Gen V season 2.
Which actor?
The African American main actor, the guy with
Oh
curly
yeah, I
hair.
heard about that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he died back in like February or March. So I have no idea what they're gonna do
I don't
with
know
that.
he was integral to the story.
I mean, he was one of the main people.
Sure, but I'm saying like if he disappeared from the story, I don't think there was anything we were waiting to like.
Have
did
him
his-
die off screen.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, that's probably what they're gonna have.
I
them
think
do.
they could get away with that in that situation. Is what I mean.
I just wasn't sure if it was gonna like derail a season 2 type of thing.
No, I don't.
Because
think
they already brought some of those characters into The Boys.
Yeah.
So, like, do you continue a Gen V season 2, or do you just now go, okay, that was a spin-off show, and we've morphed it into The Boys now for their last season?
Anyway, Spartacus was good. First season was really good. Second season was a prequel because they were trying to give Andy Whitefield time to recover.
Cancer?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so.
But the first season was basically him escaping the Ludus, and then the second season was a prequel about the gladiators that came before. But it's got what's his name? John Bana, I think is his. No, John C. Hanna, the guy from The Mummy and The Mummy Returns. He's the
Oh, as the
brother,
brother?
Jonathan.
Yeah.
Yeah. He plays like the head of the Lanista. Which
Does that
is like
count as an ancient movie? The Mummy?
The Mummy?
Yeah,
no.
50-50.
Yeah. And it's got Lucy Lawless in it.
Oh, do
Yep.
love me some Lucy Lawless.
And
Xena,
it's
then-
got the chick who was in Dexter, Lila, the crazy one.
the crazy bitch.
And it's got Digimon, which I think is literally...
It's got what?
I'm probably saying his name wrong, but he's the guy from... oh, wait, no, I'm mixing him up. Not the guy from Blood Diamond, sorry. It's a different guy, but you'd recognize him.
Are
He's
you
in a
being
ton of
racist?
stuff. I was mixing up these two guys, yes.
Ken Corey.
But I caught myself. So.
So would you be more
got
of a
Jai Courtney,
fan
too.
of ancient Rome, Greece TV shows, or do you think there are better movies?
I like the TV shows usually. There's a lot of good movies that I
you
like.
can get more in depth with a TV show than
Yeah.
you can with a 2-hour movie.
Sure, but I also feel like for some of those shows, like not a lot of them have a lot of traction. Like a movie does, like a movie like Gladiator, was still one of the
Which is-
biggest movies. Now they're doing a sequel.
Yeah, and it's also one of the least historically accurate movies
Sure.
ever.
I don't expect anything less from a movie. I'm just saying like those usually grab people's attention, and like TV shows, there haven't been too many that have like bit where it's like, oh, okay, this is gonna go 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 seasons. Everybody's invested the entire time.
I mean, there are shows like Rome was like that.
2 seasons? It wasn't like that.
That's all
then.
it was ever intended to be, was 2 seasons. I mean, yes.
I'd have to look into that.
Okay.
I don't know enough to speak on it, but most things do not have we're just going to be 2 seasons and that's it, when HBO loves to print money.
They wanted the first season to be basically the rise and fall, death of Julius Caesar, and the second season to be the aftermath, and then that was it. Because it was basically following the main characters are 2 soldiers, Titus Polo and Lucius Vorenus, and basically how I kind of think of it as the droids in Star Wars. All the shit's happening around them, and they're like
Just happen to
intersected
be in
with
the
it.
area.
Yeah. So like,
What is that? Forrest Gump too?
Yep.
Yeah,
Everything's just happening behind him, kind of. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah. So that one was supposed to be 2 seasons. Spartacus, I think they had different plans for. Andy Whitefield died. They did the first season, then the prequel season, and then they went where they wanted to go with Andy Whitefield, but the acting quality wasn't there for Spartacus. Still entertaining show,
But is it Spartacus season 1 and that's it? And then there's Spartacus the prequel, but it has a
Bloods
different
and
name.
Sands. Yeah.
Bloods and Sands.
Or no, Gods of the Arena. Sorry.
Okay,
Yeah,
and
Blood and
then
Sand is the
the
first season.
Third season.
They did have different names, but those two are direct sequels of the first season.
Sure, they're spin-offs.
No. It's
Well, one's a prequel. It can't be a direct from it. It's a prequel. It's
well,
before.
the prequel is direct. The end of the prequel is the
It's where
start,
the
of
start
the
of-
first season.
Sure, I get that, but it looks like because I was looking them up earlier that there are 3 distinct shows.
I mean, not really. The first it goes chronologically. It goes second season, first season, third,
I get
fourth.
that.
Okay. And then story wise and like how it should have gone, it was 1, 3, 4, and they're not different shows. It's the same show.
1,
Continue
3, 4.
season 1, season 3, season 4.
So
There's a
season 2
4?
was supposed to be
Yeah.
the prequel.
Oh, I thought you said that was season 1, prequel season 2, then season 3. It didn't go where they wanted to go and it stopped.
No, it kept going. So
okay.
season 3 is basically the uprising of Spartacus and them, and that one wasn't that bad. Season 4, they weren't going to be able to get a season 5, and I feel like they had to condense it into one season, which is why it was a little rough.
What about Ben-Hur? The movie Ben-Hur?
The original's fantastic.
Yeah,
The original
the
is good. The new
remake's
one
awful.
was very bad.
Yeah.
I
It
remember
killed that
seeing
guy's
the original
career.
one so many years ago. Well, that's like, what's the movie that you and Mike liked? I don't know if
John
you liked
Carter?
it. There it is.
Yeah.
Ruined that guy's career, and
Well, to be fair,
It
that
bombed.
didn't. That was like, okay, it bombed. He might be dead. Then he did Battleship, and it really died.
so many people like that movie though. Like,
well,
that
they're-
I've talked to. It's not a good movie.
Fucking Rihanna's.
I mean, they could have picked a better movie for him than John Carter. No offense. Like,
I thought the John Carter movie I didn't have a problem with. I just don't think anyone knew what it was.
exactly. Like, it was such a
Badly
relatively
marketed movie.
unknown intellectual property. Like, oh boy, he's a normal dude, but while he's on this planet, he's like 100 times stronger than everybody else
'Cause
around him.
yeah.
My issue, I think, with that movie is they hyped it up too much, and it was never going to live up to that. It was supposed to be their Star Wars type epic, where they were going to have continuations of it. And if once that bombed, within a few months, Disney bought Lucas.
Yeah.
So
well,
I'm curious if they would have bought Lucas if that movie didn't bomb, and they could have done their own Star Wars type universe.
it deserves a reboot at some point
It's
because
like me with Jonah Hex.
It was a bad movie.
Great character, terrible movie.
yeah. But John Carter is a series. It's like
trying to
a
remember
really
who
old
was that.
sci-fi
Yeah, it's like
series.
the 1930s.
Yeah, and there's multiple books, and they should have been able to continue, but they need to reboot it because it's like I don't want to say it's a different sci-fi. I mean, I'm sure there's other sci-fi movies similar in style, but I mean, it was the first
It's
of
pulp.
its kind. So yeah,
It's
What
pulpy.
about? I love the books. I read the first 3, I think. Aragon, and they're supposed
Oh,
to
you
be
mean
doing
Star
a
Wars.
TV show. What?
Oh, you mean Star Wars?
I mean, what? No, what?
No, the author of Aragon got sued by George Lucas because it is a shot-for-shot remake of Star Wars, only in a fantasy setting.
I mean, Star Wars is a fantasy setting.
I also disagree with that because
Yeah, I don't even
what
see
is
it.
the dragon represented in Star Wars? Is that his lightsaber? I don't even.
The Force, essentially. It's an allegory for the Force, essentially. But every character is the same, even down to the point where his mentor being Ben, it's his estranged uncle that's definitely not Ben Kenobi that teaches him how to fight and use this weird magic.
That's the only part I can kind of be like, yeah, okay.
Even the author admitted it's a shot-for-shot remake of Star Wars.
Did he?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, well, if he did, then he did. I just remember reading the book and being like, I like this.
Yeah.
And then I read the second book and I was like, I like this. And then they did the movie and I was like, I don't like this.
Which is too bad because I like the guy who plays the main character was in that show Kings that I loved, and then it got canceled because people thought it was people either hated it because they knew it was based on David and Goliath and had Bible themes, or people hated it because they were religious and thought it was like a fantasy, like making it a fantasy of the Bible, and like that the Bible isn't real, and I don't know. So it got hated for both sides for this different reasons.
I said it isn't real.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Well, the Bible's a very real book.
Sure. I can write a book too. Doesn't mean what I say is true in it.
I'm not talking discussion. Like, you just said the Bible as an object isn't real.
The
Yeah, 100% it
stories
is.
inside of it aren't
It was
real.
created once. Someone made it. Yes. Those stories physically exist.
The stories exist. Sure.
Anyway.
I'm not talking philosophical.
I'm just saying that anybody can write a book that anybody can say, hey, this is gospel. This is true. This
L.
is
Ron
yada, yada.
Hubbard.
Yes. Yes. What were we talking about before that? John Carter, flops. But then we went off on side
17 different
tangents.
tangents.
That's what we do, man. Like, unless there's a topic that honestly grips us to no end, we just tangent, which I like just because that's how I have normal conversations. Like, someone says something and someone's going to go in a different direction.
There's also some good, there's shows like Vikings too, which I know you like.
Oh, I loved Vikings.
Yeah.
Vikings was a great show for most of it, and even like it went up, it went a little down, it went back up, it went a little down.
Yeah.
But
That's
yeah,
what she
some of the characters on Vikings are super fun to watch.
I think they did a really good job portraying Ivar the Boneless. So.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
But also, God, the main character's first son went out Bjorn went out like a fucking champ in that show, and I just love the whole scene behind it where he's already been shot and he's gonna die anyway, so then he just rides out and takes like 50 arrows and continues forward just to like scare the other side. It was just great. But there's so many characters in there that I find it hard for a lot of TV shows to make me care about characters. And that was one of my issues with Rome, too. I didn't care about anybody. Now, I know that it was the first episode and I got to give it time. Maybe I'll go back to it because that's what I had to do. Like, when you guys forced me to watch Yellowstone, if I only got to one episode, I would have called it quits. It only took until, like, episode 3 or 4 for me to be like, okay, I care about these characters. But I felt like right away in Vikings, I cared about what was going on and the characters. And if you can grip me like that, then I'm usually going to stay until either you fall off a cliff and if there's just no coming back, or until you end the show.
The Game of Thrones parable.
Yeah, well, I mean, fucking, 6 seasons of just top notch. And then season 7 where it was like, oh, wow, we are going downhill, but it had some good moments. And then season 8 was brutal. Brutal.
There's also a good, going back to Rome for a second. There's
are we?
comedy series on BBC called Plebs. Have you ever heard of it?
Nope.
No. It's a funny show. It's got a couple people you'd recognize.
But is it funny or is it BBC dry humor funny? Because those are two different things. Because you also like that.
Yeah, sorry.
Either
It's
BBC
probably
or
too
Australia
smart for you
show.
to laugh.
That BBC Australia show that you liked about them working at like a retail store. You really liked it for a while.
That
And
wasn't BBC. That was.
I said BBC/Australia.
Oh well, you're wrong on both accounts.
It's not
it was
Australia?
New Zealand.
Oh, wow. they're right next to each other.
Oh well, they're the same then.
But anyway, so yeah, like that's like most of that humor is not
Your
good
type
humor.
of humor.
Yeah, I don't find it that funny at all.
That's all right.
So I was asking you about that. Is that similar? Like, have you watched BBC?
Plebs is less dry than that one was.
What is a nerd show on BBC about tech? IT crowd.
Yes.
Yeah,
Crowd,
that is one of those shows
With
too.
Richard
Yes,
Yeah,
Iotti.
I'm not a big fan of that. So
But
I
it's
like him as
that
an
type of
actor.
humor. Yeah, I don't mind Richard Iotti. This guy with curly hair, right?
Yeah.
I love him on, like, I'm a huge fan of Cats Does Countdown and Big Fat Quiz Show of the Year, everything hosted by, like, Jimmy Carr. Love me some Jimmy Carr. And he's on that all the time,
His
and he's
partner
always
that's
funny.
always there. He played a singer on the Mighty Boosh. I can't remember who the frick Iote's partner always is.
You're Neil?
Yes.
Neil, yeah.
Fucking hilarious.
He
I love
is
Neil.
funny, and he's so awkwardly funny because he was on their Great British Bake Off, like, and he was like the host of that, and he had his really funny moments in that too. But anyway, all right. So what about let's transition to movies, because I've seen significantly more movies of that. So because then I want to get back to the new show that you've almost finished and you just started. We'll get back to that one and see if I should be watching it. But, like, did you guys watch Pompeii?
Yeah.
It was all right.
It was okay. I hated the ending, but that's what was going to happen. It's similar to, I'm going to talk about Star Wars again for a second, but what's that movie?
Spoilers, though.
Fuck off. Not Andor, but it's
What are you talking about?
Rogue One. Like, you know the ending where everybody's going to die, but it's still a great movie up to that point.
You didn't know it was literally going to end the way it ended, though.
You talking about...
None of them were Bothans, sir.
Yeah, I know, right? But you didn't know it was going to end with them literally escaping on Tantive 4 and...
They didn't escape. They died.
What?
What? Rogue One, everybody dies. That's the point.
Okay, so at the end, Princess Leia escapes in the ship on Tantive 4.
Sure.
That's what I'm saying. It literally starts where...
The next movie.
Right.
Yeah. I get that.
Could have had a bigger gap than that.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I did like that part of it, but
Yeah,
I'm
me
just
too.
saying I didn't mean that as the end. That part was cool as hell.
The fucking Vader coming in?
Yeah,
was
it was
badass,
great.
Yeah.
I noticed how it's like all these Bothans died, but they never mentioned like these 4 chuckle fucks over
I
here
know,
that are
yeah.
Bothans.
Yeah, you do what you got to do. I lost my train of thought of why I brought that up. The ending, Pompeii. So it obviously you build these
erupt.
characters, and then they're all gonna die because of the volcano, and it's
I
just
thought,
like
that movie was just very meh.
Yeah, I agree. It was meh. Alexander.
Speaking of meh,
Okay.
there you go. Alexander.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
So long, too.
I mean, I feel like most of these, besides for Pompeii, were very long movies. They're like
I will
2.5,
say,
3 hours.
Alexander the Great's empire and like everything you would have to tell about him it wasn't contained in that movie for obviously, but
I mean,
I can kind of understand why it was so long.
They didn't include his best mentor, a guy named Diogenes. He was a guy who was a philosopher who lived in a barrel in the middle of Athens. He refused basically all common goods, everything. He just kind of like existed, and his entire existence was to piss everybody else off.
Did he live?
That's why I'm here.
Was there garbage in this barrel? Was he Oscar the Grouch?
No, he just lived in a barrel. Like he felt that the world would provide for him, so he drank from puddles and shit. He ate whatever he could find, and he was one of the great philosophers to the point where Plato was doing this big discussion on what is a man, and Diogenes went, I can tell you. Like, Plato kept saying it was the simplest way to define a man is featherless biped. So, Diogenes, being the asshole he is, goes and plucks a live chicken, plucks it, throws it down, and goes, look, I have created man.
Oh.
That probably didn't go over well.
It was sent the entire, the assembly into a riot. The time when Alexander the Great asked for Diogenes' advice, he says, I have only but one thing to ask of you. He says, what's that? Move. You're blocking my sun.
Yeah.
So, yes, basically just tells the emperor of Greece, like the most powerful man in the world, to get the fuck over, man. You're blocking the sun. I'm enjoying myself.
Hey, the sun is a nice thing to see.
So you look like you have a list of movies. So.
I do. Troy.
Yeah, it's not bad, but
Wasn't
I
good.
actually liked the made-for-TV one more back in the day. Again, I think on USA. I don't know who played.
Is Troy the Trojan horse one?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
all over
I
a woman.
want to say I think I remember the one you're talking about more than I remember this movie.
Yeah,
Very
I
forgettable.
think it was called Helen of Troy, though.
Well, yeah, because that's the...
That's the entire central focus point
Yeah.
of the story of Troy.
Yeah.
Well, right. I'm just saying, yeah. And it had the guy from A Knight's Tale, the bad guy, Rufus Sewell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So moving away from
Grease.
well, no, staying with Grease, but moving away from reality-ish. But you've got Immortals, and then Immortals: Fury of the Gods, or whatever it's called.
Garbage.
Yeah, the second one was definitely garbage. The first one was meh.
Wait,
Garbage.
There's a second one
Yeah, I'm pretty
with Henry Cavill?
Isn't that?
No, I think you're
I'm thinking
mixing
of
it.
Clash of the Titans.
Yeah, you're thinking
I'd say
Clash of Titans,
the
Wrath of
original
Titans.
the original Clash of the Titans is amazing. The remake, it's all right.
Yeah, the remake
I
was
didn't mind
okay.
the remake.
And
It-
then
6 out of 10.
Wrath of the Titans.
Yeah,
Clash and Wrath, right? Yeah, yeah.
It's got Rafe Fiennes and Liam Neeson in it as Zeus and Hades.
So which one is Immortals? Which
That's
one's
the
that?
one with God, why am I blanking on names today? Superman, Henry Cavill.
Yeah, I you already said that. That doesn't help me though. What is it about?
It's kind of 300-esque in style, and he plays
Is it the Persian
Theseus,
version? No.
I think.
Oh.
I think he's Theseus, and then his mother's murdered by Mickey Rourke. Is that his name? The wrestler? Yeah.
I mean, he's not. He's in the movie The Wrestler.
I mean, that
he's not a
revitalized
wrestler.
his entire career, but he's not a wrestler. No.
Oh, I thought he was like a wrestler
No,
previously.
he was
Oh,
just
No,
an
he
actor.
just did the
Looks like
movie,
he
and
could
he's
be.
he's Rick. Oh,
Mickey
God.
Rourke.
No,
Oh.
I was thinking of his name for the movie The Wrestler.
Oh, I don't know.
It's
Yeah.
been so long.
The Ram, something
Yeah,
the Ram.
Ronnie or Ricky the Ram.
Yeah,
not
But
Ricky.
he plays
Roddy the Ram.
That doesn't sound right. Because of Roddy
Hold on.
Piper. Like that's yeah. You look that up. Keep going, Corey.
But he plays the bad guy who's basically a servant of Hera or Hades. Or no. He wants to basically he hates the gods and he's looking for a weapon to use against them or something. I can't remember. And then Theseus.
Randy the Ram Robinson.
Randy. Okay, Randy the Ram.
But anyway, yeah, I don't know. It's kind of that style of 300 like filmography style, like the color,
Yeah.
the colors and so yeah.
So we'll get to 300 in a second because that's on my next list. But I just thought about because you were talking about that. So all 1,000 of the Hercules movies, and there's never been a good one.
Which one are you talking
There's
about?
the
though?
animated
There's the-
Hercules, which is fantastic.
I was gonna talk about that one in a second because that is the only good Hercules movie I've seen, and it's great. It is so fucking good from start to finish. It's fantastic. It's got Danny DeVito. Love me some Danny
automatic
DeVito.
win. Danny DeVito's
Yeah,
the automatic
and
win.
the
plays
songs
Hades. What's
are-
his name?
James
Philatides.
Woods.
James Woods.
Yeah,
Yeah,
James
yeah,
Woods.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's great in it too. The fucking Pain and Panic are great in it. The songs are just bumping. Great fucking movie. And they're supposed to be doing a live action of it. I'm hoping it doesn't suck.
It's Disney live action. It's
I
gonna
know,
be
but they
terrible.
talked about James Woods coming back as Hades, which I would love to see him in real life doing it, especially depending on how they make him look. Like I'm on board
Danny
for it.
DeVito
Much like
Danny DeVito has been talked about coming back as
Philatides.
Yes,
Much like the
You'd save so much on costume.
Right.
Just be like, Danny DeVito, we'll just paint some hair on your legs.
you don't even paint some hair, just take the pants off.
yeah. Let's just take your pants off, man. You're fine. I've seen him in Always Sunny. He'll do it. He'll just be like, I got it.
I mean, there are times when you see like Archer, a lot of those characters look like the voice actors.
Yes.
But when you look at Danny DeVito's character, you're like, oh, that's Danny DeVito if he was a sitar
satyr
or
or-
a
Yeah.
satyr. Yeah.
Yeah. So the animated version, it's great, but there's been no good live act. The Rock one sucked.
Oh, you're just talking recent ones then.
What is another
Well,
good
because
one?
they had the Hercules back in the day. There were a lot of
Fireworks.
black and white ones. Like there was Hercules meets the Three Stooges.
It has
it.
the Three Stooges in it. It can't be bad.
I mean, that's not true.
Bite me.
I'm not a fan of the Three Stooges. Like, I feel like
Before
if-
your time.
yeah, and
Before my time.
Well,
Did you
that's
see that
fair.
one? Three Stooges meet Hercules.
I've seen every Three Stooges.
So I just love when Hercules is eating dinner at the table and they're in the jail cell below and they're trying to lift the bar and get out. And so they lift it up and it lifts his bowl up and he's like, "What the?" He pushes it down. They're just jamming. Such a funny scene.
but name a good one even from the past. A good Hercules movie.
Well, I didn't. You said there were like 1,000. I didn't know if you were talking about the old black and white ones with I don't know what that actor's name was, but
I couldn't tell you. He's the same guy who played Tarzan from back in the day.
Yep. But then there was also Kevin Sorbo had a lot of
made for
TV Hercules movies. So it was like Hercules and the Golden Fleece and Hercules and
it was based off of the Seven Trials. Like every episode, every
but
movie
it
was
was
the
off
Seven
of
Trials
the
of Hercules.
TV. Was it off the TV show? Like
Yes.
continuation of that? I'm fine with those because that's just like
An
a
hour-long
TV
episode.
Yeah. Although I thought they were an hour episode, so those
2 hour
movies
or
were like
whatever it was.
2 hours. So that's fine because it's just like getting a longer episode. Great. I'm more talking about like the live action ones that are big budget-ish and they're just bad. And I don't understand. Like, it seems like a very interesting story to tell about being like a half god and trying to figure that out. And again, the animated version does it perfectly, just from start to finish. You watch this little geeky little kid who just wants to belong, told that he's part like of a god, tries to get in touch with his. There's so many themes in that fucking movie.
Just read, don't watch, but read Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief.
Well, that involves reading.
It's a similar story. I mean, the kid finds out he's a son of Zeus.
Yep.
No, Poseidon.
Poseidon.
My bad.
Yeah.
He's a son of Poseidon. He gets framed for the theft of Zeus's lightning bolt.
Yeah.
So he has to go as a
Is there
13-year-old
a
kid.
movie?
There's the TV series
There's
on
a
Amazon Prime.
TV series, and there's a really bad movie.
Okay.
There's
what about
like
the
2
TV
or 3
series?
movies, I think.
The
Right?
TV series is
okay.
okay.
All
Yeah,
right.
I
It's
didn't
not
mind it.
great, but it's not bad.
It's a lot more
faithful.
to the book. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because it takes a lot for me to want to read. It just does. Like
It's a
I have
simple
to.
book.
I
It's
have
for-
to be
it's for, like,
hooked.
It's for like junior high /
Well, now
early
I'm
high
already.
school
Now I'm
age
out.
kids.
It's above my age range.
Fair enough.
So there is a Hercules miniseries. I was trying to remember. It's not rated very high. It's got a 5.6 on IMDb.
Yeah, it's very low.
But it's got Sean Astin in it, and to date, it's probably my favorite live adaptation in the last maybe like 20 years. Because like I liked Kevin Sorbo as Hercules,
Oh, who doesn't?
but this is like I
Maybe
hated
not
the
as
one
a
with the rock.
person,
The one with the
but-
rock was just dumb.
oh, it was
That
so
was
bad.
Miserable.
I thought it had a chance just because I figured The Rock would be like, "Hey, this is some stupid shit. Let's not do it." And it was just no. It was dumb. It was very dumb.
From what I heard, he had a lot more direct control with that movie. So
Yeah,
a lot of it was
which that makes
his
it worse.
stupid ass
Yeah.
ideas.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
It's funny to me how much money he makes off movies that aren't that good. He makes some decent movies, or at least he
Scorpion King.
used to. Scorpion King really wasn't his movie. He was just. Oh no, Scorpion King, not The Mummy Returns, where he is the Scorpion King.
The Scorpion
The
King.
Scorpion King.
I
yes.
liked it.
It's not a great movie.
It's not, but I
but
was
the
entertained.
rundown.
Holy crap,
I love
funny.
me the rundown.
Weird coincidence. I was listening to a different podcast, Deadlock Pro Wrestling. They do their own like podcast, and they kept making jokes about The Rock being the Scorpion King the entire episode.
I'm sure.
It was great.
It's just it has some funny moments within it, but it's not a great movie.
I mean,
But
I like the
Walking
little
Tall?
sidekick guy. In Scorpion King when he's buried up to his head.
neck,
Yeah,
and there's like scorpions.
yeah. No, they're fire ants.
Oh, fire ants. That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, I liked that movie. It was entertaining. I mean, is it genius cinema? No,
No, God,
but it's
no.
it's easily watchable and rewatchable.
It's in a similar
I don't
like
think it's very watchable.
it's a similar category to me for like Deadpool and Wolverine, where it's
All right,
entertaining.
no,
but
no,
pointless.
no, Roger, none of that shit. When you
I
bring
will
that
say-
blasphemy in here,
I will say they're equally rewatchable for me.
you don't bring that blasphemy in here.
I'm entertained by both of them.
You're entertained by dumb things and good things, so I don't know how to take that.
Yeah, I'm gonna say watch it there, wrestling.
All right, so
Nothing wrong with the male soap opera.
there's not the millions of people
Look,
watching.
I don't have a problem with anyone being entertained by it, but it is pretty dumb.
So is Star Wars.
Sure,
Okay.
I'm fine with that.
No, you're not, because if I said that without you just saying that, you would instantly be like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Well,
just like you did during the podcast we were talking about Nerdy Hate to
No,
Roger.
Star Wars is dumb. There's fire explosions in space. Lightsaber. For some reason, lightsabers can cut through anything, but if you hit them together, they just spark. Like, it makes no sense.
Man, it's supposed to be
But I
swords.
love Star Wars in spite of that. I will say the acting in the original Star Wars is much better than any acting you're going to see in wrestling.
In the original Star Wars, sure.
Yeah.
Because
Oh,
it's
yeah.
a movie.
Fuck, even the prequels.
No.
I will take Anakin saying
No.
he hates
Fuck
sand
you will.
over some of the
I can
shit.
show you some great fucking promos in wrestling that is beyond that.
Rare
act.
and far and in between. I
Oh,
agree.
just
Nah,
pull up
no
any Macho Man Randy Savage
Yeah.
promo.
Or The Rock's, which just felt so... The original Rock, not The Rock now, but the original
Not the
Rock.
walking, talking corporate brand Rock.
Right. Although him as the heel Rock, this last time where he just was at WrestleMania where he was playing the final boss, was that fucking great.
Nah, I'm not a
Oh.
Rocky guy.
That didn't matter.
Not a Rocky Mavia guy.
Dude, you do the heel Rock, he's just
Speaking
so good.
of Star Wars, Mark Hamill was in a medieval series about, and I'm trying to remember what it was called. Do you remember you saw it or? It was. It's about the Knights Templar, and he
Nope, I got
played.
nothing.
Okay, he plays an old Knights Templar. God, it's gonna drive me nuts. But that was a good medieval series too, and a little bit more. It almost felt more in the style of the guy who did Sons of Anarchy tried to make a show I didn't like, but
Bastards. Yeah, Bastard
Ba-
Executioner.
Yeah, so it was kind of
Kurt
more
Sutter.
that kind of style, but done right kind of thing.
So before I get to the final movie I want to talk about, what about video games? Because we're talking. I know we were talking about movies, TV
Rome
shows.
Total
but
War.
Is there
Great game.
Rise,
like
Son
a
of Rome.
Oh yeah, yep.
Um,
It's like the first Xbox One game I think
it
I
was.
had.
It
yeah.
was it was the first Xbox One game. Period.
Well, I think they had other ones, but it
No,
was
that was
a
the launch
launch
title.
game.
That
Yeah,
was
yeah.
the launch title.
Oh, well, it was good. I liked it. The only thing I wish is it said it had co-op, and it doesn't really. It's really that you can go into the arena with somebody and fight
I
there.
hate when a game says it has co-op,
But it's
and
just like a half-assed versus mode.
I will
Yes.
say the arena mode was fun because you're in like the Coliseum and there's different
I
kinds.
still don't
of
like hearing co-op. when
I
it's
know,
not
I
it is-
can't
co-op.
remember
it's
the
misleading.
one. I know the strategy RPG Gladius, which was fun. That was
Never played that one.
huh?
I never played that one. Age of Empires, obviously medieval.
But there was a Gladiator game on the PlayStation 2, I remember. I can't remember what its name was, but it was very memorable because you could like dismember people and pick up their severed limbs and beat them to death with it. And depending on your score in the arena, they would throw flowers and the crowd would get applause.
What was that? God, it's set in old times, but it's not a good game. But there's been like 700 of them.
Assassin's Creed.
No, God, what was that game called? Shh, it's gonna bother me now.
Set in old times.
Yeah, and there's like, I think it's 2 words and then 1, 2. Dynasty Warrior.
Oh, Dynasty
Oh,
Wars?
yeah.
Ancient China, baby. I was waiting for that to pull up.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
trying. Like I was
That's my
thinking.
wheelhouse. That's my
So,
wheelhouse.
Dude, I used to be obsessed with those games for the first like 7 because a buddy and I would play them just anytime it came out. We went and played it,
Yep.
and usually beat it within a couple days, and then just never played it again.
There was a British lady who worked at like I don't know what it was at that point, like a movie rental store
Mhm.
in Orono when I was there for college, and we wanted to rent the first day it came out Dynasty Warriors Orochi or
Orochi?
Orochi.
The-
Yeah, it was Orochi. That's right. But when we called up and when we got there, she's like, "Yeah, you're the ones looking for Dynasty Warriors Orochi." It just gets me every time. And for some reason, she had to say the title like 3 times. So just by the third one, I was like, I can't look at this lady because she keeps saying it so fun.
No, I've read the book that it's based off, like the 7 series books.
Yeah.
I've watched the TV show. It is not in English, so you probably wouldn't enjoy it.
It is fun, and it's a fun game to play with your friend if it's like couch co-op.
Yeah, it's not the 1 versus 100 game mode, like Muso mode, is a blast, but
Yeah.
I just like the story behind it.
There was a game very similar to it, but it was medieval times, and it had the best soundtrack. It was like rock music as you were fighting.
Oh,
Kingdom something?
Kingdom Under Fire.
Dude, that game was
1 and 2.
awesome. I
And
loved
the-
that one.
And the Kingdom Under Fire 2, which was an MMO.
And the music, I mean, the
Oh, it was
soundtrack
butt rock,
was
man.
badass. Like, you'd be riding in a battle hammering people, and it's playing like Rob Zombie and shit.
So mine not in realism, but that game, God of War.
Oh,
God of War is
yeah.
great. Fighting Ares, fighting Zeus.
Now,
fighting
do
on
you
the
like
back
the
of
original,
Titans.
or do you like the remake better?
So the it's not a remake, it's a continuation, but that is better. It's a better game, it's a better story, it's a better everything. But
It's very much
I
of its
loved
time.
having the old ones to have all that Kratos stuff to then add so many more layers to the new Kratos that we have. Like, because I love the original games, played the shit out of them constantly, beat everything, got all the collectibles, everything you could do. I enjoyed those games. And then, however many years later, when the new one came out, it was a completely different game with the same with one same character, but the way they were able to morph that together and make it fun was mind-boggling to me.
The only one I've played was Ragnarok.
That's the last one.
I know.
You didn't play the originals?
Nope.
No.
So you played Total War,
Uh,
Rome, or Shogun, I guess.
Shogun, Total. I've done Rome, Shogun, Empires, Medieval 2, and Warhammer.
Oh yeah, I loved Shogun. Was like the one I had back in high school, and it was so much fun.
The
You
original
could send
Shogun.
assassination attempts.
So me and my buddy would play because there was like online multiplayer, like way back
Oh,
in
yeah.
the dial-up days.
Oh yeah, I did that on Rome with my brother all the time. Yeah.
And we just see how many soldiers, because there was no cap on how many soldiers you could recruit in the original Shogun. So we just see how far we could get before it would crash the game.
Well, see, I loved Age of Empires was like my favorite, and then I mean the campaign was cool because it was like, was it 100% historical accuracy? No, but you know it taught you about characters like figures like El Cid and Charlemagne, and you know basically things.
The rapper?
Yes, the
Yes.
rapper.
It was a really weird turn of events. Like going from El Cid conquering Spain and Puerto Rico into
They're spitting some
Charlemagne.
rhymes.
Yeah.
turn it into
Um,
like Parappa the Rapper. It
But
was
they
really
also
weird.
did you ever play Age of Empires?
Yeah.
So do you remember like how people can make custom scenarios and they
Mhm.
would make like the entire Lord of the Rings map and campaign?
Yep.
It's so elaborate. It was
Dude,
so cool.
there's so many games that allow people to do that they spend hours, days,
Warcraft
years.
3. Holy shit, did I play
I
a lot
loved
of Warcraft 3
yeah.
custom maps.
Yeah, I never got into StarCraft, but the Warcraft games I liked, and World of Warcraft I liked too.
We're not going to talk about that game.
Okay.
It took way too long of my life.
So finally, we mentioned it earlier, but it's probably my favorite movie, even though it's not completely accurate.
300.
Yes.
Any capacity.
I loved 300. It was
Yeah.
such a fun movie, Frank Miller, and just it was fun to watch. I liked all the characters. It was such a interesting take on cinema, the way they shot it compared to like the other stuff that was around then, and similar to like The Matrix, where everybody fucking copied it after, and then it became overdone and overblown.
No, it
But I
became
just
a
enjoyed
cultural
that movie.
touchstone for its time.
Yeah.
I mean, to the point where it's now memed out of oblivion.
Oh yeah, and it's Gerard Butler. I can't remember the other guy's name. Oh, the guy who loses half of his eye or his eye. Don't remember. But what did you guys think of 300? Was it just and not
It was dumb entertainment, but I liked it.
I
dumb
remember
entertainment
liking-
at the time or now?
What do you mean?
Like when you were watching it, did you go, "This
I
is
thought
dumb
it was rad as
entertainment"?
hell when it came out.
I thought it was
Or are you
badass,
looking
but
back in it at the day?
I knew at the time that it was a really silly interpretation of a historical
Well,
event.
did you go in expecting it not to be?
No, I saw the
Okay.
previews and was like, this is going to be dumb entertainment and I'm going to enjoy it.
Yeah, we're going to deal with the 300 Spartans. We're going to completely ignore the 2,500 Thesians that fought alongside them.
Or Athenians too, yeah.
But they had some just amazing scenes in that damn movie.
Oh, yeah. They just shot wonderfully.
Yes, very very well done, and characters that you cared about, and characters
Yeah, I
that
wouldn't
you
go that
wanted.
far.
I cared about him, and I cared about her, the husband and
Leonidas
wife.
and-
Yep, Leonidas and whatever her name is.
Cersei Lannister, I believe was her name.
Oh, that was her, wasn't it? Yeah. And I enjoyed
Michael
just
Fassbender.
seeing all the I think that's who I was thinking of earlier.
He doesn't lose his eye though. It's a different guy.
Well, that's the guy that his son dies, right? Fassbender's son dies, or Fassbender?
No, Fassbender's
is the
just
son.
the guy. The only reason you should know him from that movie, I mean, has a few lines, is when he's the guy who launches himself in the air and like hammers them.
Oh.
And he's the one who says, "We'll fight in the shade," when they say, "Our arrows will blot out the sky."
But they've that was the other thing. They have great villains. Like there's like 3 that you see, but there's obviously the one main one, but they have 3 and
Xerxes.
all of them are great. Yeah, that guy. Yeah.
I do love. I
And then
didn't
South
like
Park
the
makes
movie,
fun of it.
but what?
South Park makes fun of it.
Well, then they have the spoof movie Meet the Spartans.
Oh, that was so
With
bad.
Kevin Sorbo, baby.
So bad.
It was terrible, but the one thing I liked is the big fat Persian guy who plays the
Guy
in the,
from Borat?
In the movie, the guy's arm gets cut off when he goes to whip him.
Yeah.
It's the I think he is in Borat.
He is.
Yeah. But that guy in that movie cracks me up so bad because he just walks up. He's got the nipple piercing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Any other ancient Rome, Greece shows, movies, video games you're going to talk about before we end this?
I mean, there's so many other movies that were good. Like Centurion was a good one. But like King Arthur was a decent one. It's
The Green Knight. The Green Knight was cool.
that he would hate The Green Knight.
King Arthur.
I thought it was interesting, but
I liked it.
yeah,
I thought it was cool.
it was different for sure.
Wasn't there a Lancelot movie with Richard Gere?
That is First Night, and that's with Sean Connery.
Sean Connery,
and,
yep.
But that one is like assuming the story of King Arthur
Yeah.
is the story of King Arthur. The one called King Arthur is with Clive Owen and a variety of people you would know, but it's one of the assumed possibilities of who King Arthur really was, and he was a knight in the or basically led a company of mercenaries that served Rome ish. And then he basically went.
At that point, it would have been the Holy Roman Empire. It wouldn't have been Rome. It'd been like,
Yeah, no, that's fair. But he basically
completely different.
went to Britain and was to retrieve
Became a Saxon.
He went
Yeah.
where?
Britain.
When he said it a second ago, it sounded like he was trying to do a British accent. I feel like it just
I don't
comes
even know
and
how
goes
you
for
say Britain in a
Britain?
British.
Britain.
Britain.
There you go.
There you go.
That's
He went
what
to
it's
Britain to get
yeah.
the stollies off.
That's what we should have had you do. Just do the whole thing with an accent. This entire episode of
you mean
Greek
like
or...
his first character in D&D where
Who
it
just
changed
kept
every
switching
episode?
because he never remembered what it was, even though we had just talked 2 seconds before. It just
know what you're
switched.
talking about.
I think he just went along with it for the bit, and I loved it.
I think he did eventually, but I think the first few times that I called him out on it and you called him out on it, he was just like, "Oh fuck, I did, didn't
No,
I?"
I
did
knew what I
switch."
was doing the whole time.
Bullshit.
Don't you challenge me, governor.
I don't think you're backed by popular demand.
I was
Um,
always backed by popular demand. My favorite.
I mean-
I didn't even need to know how to fight. I would just walk into an area and be like, "Hey, it's me again. Remember me from a few weeks ago? I'm back by popular demand."
I don't know. I think I've got a character in my current Infinite game that tops that in enjoyment for me. His
yeah?
name's Bird. He's a rogue who can only speak in song titles.
Oh, that's right. You had mentioned that. Yeah. God, that would be difficult. I'd have to have like a whole list ready for me before
The guy
every
who plays
session.
it is really good at it, and it's
Yeah.
very
I think
surprising.
I'd be better at doing it with movie titles.
Yeah,
than
movie
song
titles I could probably
yeah.
do.
I'm really bad with song names and stuff.
Especially when you like just because it's a lyric in the song doesn't make it the song title.
Right.
I've made that mistake many times. But all right, anything else? Or are we calling it?
I think that's good.
I think
Yeah.
that's good too. All right.
I think we should all watch Rome.
If you can get past subtitles, I'd recommend Romance of the Three Kingdoms.
Everybody's just got suggestions. Ain't nobody got time for this.
He can't.
Mine's
read,
only
so-
190 episodes.
Only
Mine's only 20.
that. I mean, both of those sound very long. All right, that'll do it. We may or may not be back next week.